they actually let it go, which of course is just out of an abundance of caution. This guy isn't wanted for a violent crime or anything of that nature. So they let it go, but then CHP got behind it, and then the pursuit continued with ground units and helicopter. But since then, they pulled the ground units off because he was driving pretty recklessly and just kept the airship on it. But now that he's back on the freeway and really not changing the way he's driving, I'm hearing that they may get units behind him again. So he's 405 South here, coming up to Palo Verde in the Long Beach area. Again, the car itself is what looks like a Chevy Silverado. Got some stuff in the back. Tinted windows, so I can't see inside. But for those of you who are following along on the scanner, all my scanner hounds out there, it's switching to the Westminster frequency is what we're hearing on the CHP gray. So if you're following along on the scanner, that's what you'll want to switch it to, is the gray. And real quick, I'm just going to say a few words for our sister station Telemundo before resuming our coverage in English. Once again, thank you very much for watching us here on embcla.com. Buenas noches desde el helicóptero. Yo soy 𝗟ᴑᴇ reportando sobre una persecución policíaca que ahora se encuentra en el área de Long Beach. Esta es la patrulla de caminos de California que está persiguiendo a este carro gris, una camioneta gris, porque creen que el conductor posiblemente está manejando bajo la influencia de drogas o alcohol. Es una persecución que empezó en la ciudad de Industry, muy cerca de las autopistas 60 y 605. Y la persecución estuvo por un tiempo en la autopista 60, también en la autopista 605, hasta llegar a la Long Beach Town Center, el centro comercial ahí en Long Beach, donde el conductor se salió de la autopista y manejó en las calles de Lakewood serán unos 15-20 minutos antes de montarse una vez más a la autopista, pero esta vez la autopista 405 en dirección sur. Y como pueden ver, ahora estamos entrando a la ciudad de Rossmore, entonces estamos entrando al condado de Orange, pero la patrulla de caminos de California sigue persiguiendo a este conductor ahora desde la tierra con varias patrullas y también el helicóptero de la policía. Y ahora estamos manejando a altas velocidades, aproximadamente de 85 a 90 millas por hora aquí en la autopista 405, donde se junta con la 605 en el área de Los Alamitos. Reportando desde el helicóptero, yo soy Elian Moreno, del Mundo 52. Back with you guys here in English. So we're right at the 605 and the 405. This is in Los Alamitos, Rossmore, West Garden Grove. There's the Catella exit. And you see the units are now behind it. The reason they got behind him was because he didn't change his driving style. They thought, hey, maybe if they went in a surveillance mode, that he would start to drive a little more calmly, but he continued to drive at fast speeds and continued to run red lights. So they figured they had nothing to lose them by getting some ground units behind him yet again. So that's what we find ourselves now here. It's going to be the CHP cruisers behind him, CHP airship overhead, and we're on the 605 freeway, passing by El Dorado Park. A lot of you in the area will know where that is, a big park there off the freeway. And we're at Catella. I think the next exit's going to be Spring, as we continue here in the Los Alamitos area. Let me widen out here for just a second. I want to see how many units are behind him. Yeah, it looks like 2 units of the CHP are behind this guy. Again, wanted for possible DUI originally out of the city of Industry, and then made its way southbound towards Lakewood. He exited at the Long Beach Town Center, drove around there for a while. I heard that he was over by the Sam's Club, over by Walmart, and was just speeding through the parking lot, and eventually got out of that, got on to Carson, and then worked his way on surface streets in Lakewood for a while before jumping back on the 405 freeway. And we are now on the 605 freeway. So he was only momentarily on that 405 before jumping back on that 605. And we're actually coming back up to the Long Beach Town Center, so it'll be interesting to see if he exits there again. The CHP had actually set up spike strips because he kept circling the area in Lakewood, but he never got to where they had set them up, so he didn't run over any spike strips. So as far as we know, this car is still fully functioning, has all its tires. Unknown how much gas it might have. It has been going on for quite a bit. Again, started in Industry, made its way on the 660 for a while, and then the 605 for a while, and then jumped off the freeway in Lakewood and work surface streets there until getting back on the freeway where we find ourselves now here northbound on the 605 coming up to 𝗼𝗪𝗪 Boulevard. There's the 𝗼𝗪𝗪 exit. Let's see if he gets off. Nope. Okay, so the speeds are fluctuating a lot, but I'd put them at about 80 miles most of the time, at least on the freeway. And thank you to everyone who is reaching out to us on X, formerly Twitter. We do get your messages, so thank you for your support. Special shout out here to Tom 𝗵𝗍. I hope I got that right, Tom. Tom 𝗵𝗍. I think that's what it is. Tom 𝗵𝗍. Thank you for watching us, Tom. We appreciate your viewership. Of course, our friend Rob Emery, who's one of our most loyal fans as well. Thank you for watching. And of course, I have to thank my buddy PubScan, who was the first one to tell me about this pursuit. He told me about it when it was City of Industry that was in pursuit. It seems like forever ago now. Seems like an hour ago. They were originally the agency that was in pursuit. They let it go, and then CHP picked it up. And so it's been CHP ever since on the 60 and the 605 freeway, 405 freeway just for a moment, and now back on that 605 coming through the 91 here. And so now he's actually headed back towards this pursuit began. So this started near the 605 and the 60, and we are heading back in that direction. One of the things we are kind of facing, though, is the weather. It seems like it's starting to get a lot more foggy here, but of course we'll stay on this as long as we can as he continues northbound on the 605, coming up to Alondra. So we're very close to both the 91 and the 105 here on that northbound 605. He's kind of all over the freeway, so it's not really clear to me if he's perhaps trying to transition onto any other freeway. But if he has any intent of getting back up to Industry, then he should just stay on the 605, and I'm sure he knows that. As far as we know, we don't have any other information about the driver or the vehicle. We did hear that this was a DUI driver, so that's the only thing we have confirmed at this point. But now entering Norwalk, and for my scanner hounds, if you're following along on the scanner, I am hearing they're switching back to the gold, so switching back to the Santa Fe Springs frequency of the CHP. Okay, coming up to the 105 freeway here. Pretty light traffic, all things considered, for a Friday night. So traffic has not really been a factor in this pursuit. He did run a couple reds while in the Lakewood area, but just because he didn't want to wait. And once again, if you're just joining us, this is a possible DUI driver. Special thanks to everyone who is watching us and reaching out to us. Kent Nicholson, thank you very much for watching. I do get your messages, guys, or if you have questions too, I can sometimes look down quick enough and be able to grab the question and answer it as we're following this pursuit. But continuing northbound 605 here, we're past the 105. So next freeway coming up is the 5, which is actually where he's moving to right now. currently set up to go northbound 5. If he moves to the right lane, that's going to be southbound 5, but he's staying to the left, so that's going to be northbound on the 5. The CHP is saying it's southbound 5. I thought it was north, but we'll see. They're behind him. I'm not. Let's see. Yep, there we go. So he was set up to go north, made that last second move to go south. So he's southbound on the 5 here at the 605. So that is not the right way to go if he was trying to get back to the city of industry, where this all began. That's the only reason I say it, is because they began in that area, and pursuits tend to return to an area where they began, that a driver's familiar with. And I have to say hi to Mr. 𝗏ᴜ, Mr. 𝗏ᴜ, who is reaching out to us from the Downey area. He's waving at me. I see ya. So the Westminster units are going to cancel. So currently it's the gold Santa Fe Springs frequency units that are on here, heading towards Norwalk. Okay, passing Imperial. One of the things they're saying on the scanner is that there's no rain, so as if rain was a factor. And you guys aren't going to believe this, but there's another pursuit. I just heard that there is a pursuit southbound on the 605 at Whittier. So that's behind us. So there's 2 pursuits very close to each other. There's this one here on the 5 and Rosecrans Avenue in Norwalk, and then there's that other one, southbound 605 at Whittier. I don't know the want on that other one. I just know it's a failure to yield. I just heard it come across the CHP scanner. So once again, we get 2 pursuits at exactly the same time, but of course we're committed to this one, so we're going to stay on this one for now. Again, this is a possible DUI driver in a Chevy Silverado. The other pursuit, I think, is a Kia. I'm getting every other word, so I'll relay what I hear, but I think both pursuits are CHP. This one is almost out of LA County, back in Orange County. We're at the 5 and Carmenita Road here in Santa Fe Springs. And once again, at the controls of News Chopper 4 is my pilot, George Marcineau. He's fighting through a little bit of weather here as we continue southbound here on the 5. So pardon us when we have to scoot back a little bit at times. Coming up to Valley View. The other one is southbound 605 at Slauson. This is pretty funny, actually. We can actually be on one chase and be talking about a whole other chase that's literally like right behind me. So it happened to us the other night as well. We had 2 pursuits that were going on at exactly the same time, and I could see them both at the same time. In this case, this one's a DUI driver, the one that we're on. I don't know what the other one is on the other one, other than just a failure to yield, which is it simply means that you didn't stop when the police tried to pull them over, but typically there's something else involved too. You can see that the shot's getting a lot more hazy. There is a little heavier cloud cover as we make our way towards Orange County. And then the other thing we encounter as we head towards Anaheim is, of course, that Disneyland TFR, that temporary flight restriction over Disneyland, that actually keeps us either 3 miles away from the park or 3,000 feet above it. So our shot may get a lot more foggy as we continue south. So hopefully he turns around. He'd do us a favor, that's for sure. But continuing southbound 5 here in La Mirada. And then real quick, I'm just going to do a quick update in Spanish and then resume our coverage in English. Once again, thank you very much for watching us here on 𝗣𝗟_LA.com. Buenas noches una vez más desde el helicóptero. Yo soy Eliana Moreno reportando sobre una persecución policíaca que ahora se encuentra en el condado de Orange. Estamos en la autopista 5 en dirección sur, acercándonos a la autopista 91 en el área de Buena Park. Esta es la patrulla de caminos de California que está persiguiendo al conductor de esta camioneta, una Chevy Silverado, porque la policía cree que posiblemente el conductor está manejando bajo la influencia de drogas o alcohol. Y es una persecución que empezó en el área de la ciudad de City of Industry. Y creo que ya fue casi una hora desde que esta persecución empezó con el departamento del alguacil del condado de Los Ángeles. Y eventualmente la patrulla de caminos de California continuó con la persecución en la autopista. La autopista ha estado la persecución ha estado en varias autopistas, la autopista 60, la 605, la 405 y ahora la 5 aquí en Buena Park, donde estamos a punto de llegar a la autopista 91 y vamos a ver si continúa en la autopista 5 sur o si se junta a la 91. Creo que al momento está preparándose para continuar en la autopista 5 en dirección sur, yendo hacia Anaheim. Y como les digo, esta es la patrulla de caminos de California que está persiguiendo a este conductor con, serán 3 patrullas de la policía y un helicóptero de la patrulla de caminos de California también. Reportando desde Fullerton, desde el helicóptero, Eliana Moreno, Telemundo 52. Okay, so continuing southbound 5. So we're at Brookhurst, so we are going into Anaheim. So again, that's going to put us into the Disneyland TFR. So my pilot George is making a few phone calls here to the right tower controllers to try to get us into that temporary flight restriction so we can keep following the chase. So the other pursuit is southbound 605 at the 91. It's a Kia Sportage, and I still haven't heard any other one other than failure to yield on that other one. And this one here is a DUI driver in a Chevy Silverado. So coming through Anaheim, moving over to the right. I hope he doesn't have the bright idea of getting off in on surface streets here in Anaheim, because that's going to make it really tough for us with the TFR. But continuing southbound on the 5 freeway. And again, this started out in the City of Industry. So that's near the 605 and the 60. So you would think if he were to do what most pursuit drivers do, that he would head back that way, but he's actually heading the complete opposite way, which is back to the south. So continuing southbound 5 here through Anaheim. So we're passing right by Disneyland. We've got still a few units of the CHP behind this guy, Chevy Silverado truck, older model from what I could tell, and a couple things there in the back. Not too much in the way of traffic, and it's Friday night, so we really won't have any Caltrans work on most of our freeways. And special thanks to our ex-follower Wilson, football only 02. I can't quite make out the name of your group there, but thank you guys for watching. We understand you guys are some of our biggest followers, so thank you. So coming up to Harbor Boulevard. So for those of you who frequent Disneyland, you know that's the exit you'd normally take to get to Disneyland from the 5. So still southbound 5 here. Next freeways coming up are going to be at the Orange Crush, which is where the 5, the 22, and the 57 all come together. It's always a pretty busy area. So you guys know we've been following 2 pursuits. This one that we're physically on, and then the other one I've just been following along on the scanner. The other one's on surface streets now. I think I heard it's on Willow, so in the Long Beach area. So pretty much kind of the same area that this pursuit had gone to as well for a time. I'm hearing it's on Studebaker and Willow is where that other chase is. That other chase is a Kia. Sportage wanted for failure to yield, which simply means that they didn't stop when the CHP tried to pull him over. This guy here was originally wanted by the sheriff's department because they believe he's under the influence of something, but they actually canceled the pursuit for safety reasons, and then CHP picked it up. So CHP has been on it ever since. We've covered a lot of territory. Again, it started in Industry, made its way south towards Long Beach, Lakewood. We circled around Lakewood for a while, and then jumped back on freeways and are now in Orange County. We're right at the Crush, again, where the 5, the 22, and the 57 all come together. So this is an area where a couple cities come together as well. So you've got Anaheim, you've got Santa Ana, you've got the city of Orange. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could easily get confused on these freeways because a lot of lanes appear all of a sudden, and there's always a crash here because it's always just a really confusing area for drivers. But we're continuing here southbound 5. So we're going by areas like Chalk Hospital, St. Joseph, the Discovery Cube, the Main Place Mall, coming up to 17th Street. Hello to all of our friends watching us from Santa Ana. And somebody asked me on Twitter, Christine asked me, have I ever seen 2 pursuits cross each other? No, I never have seen it. But we had we had 2 pursuits earlier this week that were going on at the same time, and I saw them physically at the same time, but they never ended up on the same freeway. In this case, they were very close to ending up on the same freeway. One was just behind us, but it's on surface streets now in Long Beach, and then this one's now in Santa Ana. And thank you, Karina. She says that George and I are the best. So thank you, Karina. George smiled at that one, so thank you. So continuing here, southbound 5, coming up to Grand. So we're going to come up to the 55 freeway here very soon. That's going to put us in my hometown of Tustin. Hello to everyone here in this lovely city of Tustin. So we'll see if he continues on the southbound 5 or jumps on either the 55 south or north. He's on the shoulder there for just a second. Really no reason for it, though, because he's got a nice wide open lane right in front of him. Perhaps he saw that CHP cruiser, though, and thought maybe he was setting up a spike strip. But I didn't hear that on the scanner. I don't think that was the intent. Continuing southbound 5, though. So yeah, so he's around the 5 and the 55. So there you go, there's where the 55 meets the 5. But in the lane that he's in, he'll stay on the 5. For those of you who are following along on the scanner, there, if I could get it out, it switched over to the purple frequency, so it's on the Santa Ana frequency of the CHP. So the Westminster units are going to pull off, and then the Santa Ana units will take over. Essentially, as a police pursuit makes its way down the freeway, different units of the CHP can join in, because they patrol certain sections of the highway. So this is a tricky area for us because we've got John Wayne Airport, so we are having to hold back just a little bit. So even the police airship is having to hold back right now because of that. So it's going to be ground units only, and I'll just do my best here with the camera from a distance. They're clocking him at about 92 miles an hour. It's going to be a little bit higher on our speedometer just because I don't have the car right in the center of the shot since we're a little bit further away. But he's coming up to Tustin Ranch Road. So he's still in the city of Tustin. But he's going to be in Irvine here very soon. Once you get to 𝗼𝗂, then it becomes the city of Irvine. Okay, just passing 𝗼𝗂 there. So I am hearing that they're setting up spike strips up ahead, and I won't say exactly where once again, just because you never know if the guy's listening to our broadcast. But after he passes it, then we can say it. He is moving all the way over to the right, it seems like, just for a moment, trying to dodge the police vehicles. We're trying to get a little bit closer now that they're letting us through. So coming up to Culver, so we're in Irvine proper now. The police airship is coming back overhead now too, now that we're clear of John Wayne. Thank you to Zachary Morgenstein for reaching out to us on X. And everyone who's sending me messages and questions, I'll try to get to it. So the other pursuit that we've been monitoring is now on the southbound 405 freeway at Beach. So that's over by the Bellaterra Mall in Huntington Beach. And again, that one is a Kia Sportage wanted for failure to yield, which simply means they didn't stop when the police tried to pull them over. And it's unclear, though, what their reasoning for not stopping is. So they may be wanted for something else in reality. This one here, though, is a possible DUI driver. Started a very long time ago. In fact, I need to go back to my messages with our follower PubScan to see when he first told me about this one, because I feel like it's been forever. So he first told me about it just before 9, so it was about 8:50 that he heard that the City of Industry Sheriff's Department up there was in pursuit. And They followed it for a little bit, but then they let it go, and then CHP took over. So it made its way on both the 60 East and 60 West for a bit, and then was 605 South for a bit, and he exited at the Long Beach Town Center. He worked surface streets in Lakewood for a bit, and then jumped on the 405 freeway to the 605, and then now the 5, where we are making our way basically Irvine at this point. But he may be either getting on right off the 55 and the 5, so we're going to try to get that one. That one's a Kia. I wanted for failure to yield. We'll be there probably like 5 minutes, so we're going to try to go get that one. The sheriff's ship is over that one. That's Orange County Sheriff's. So we're going to head over to that one, and then if that one ends, we can try to catch that, the original Chevy Silverado pursuit. Alrighty, guys, here's that other pursuit. Looks like it just ended in a crash. We're right on the border of Tustin and Santa Ana, right at 17th and 55th Street, just off of Deodar. And you can see that Kia that we were we heard was oh, got a little wake turbulence there. This was a pursuit of a failure to yield. He was in a Kia. You see the Kia there ended up there in the center divider. This was a police agency in pursuit, not CHP, from what I can tell based off of the units. I'll try to read them and try to tell you which agency that was. But you can see that he was on the 55 freeway. I think he tried to exit here at 17th and then just lost control. Ended up there in that center divider, center median. You see the police officers are still kind of on guard there. I think they're probably just clearing the vehicle, but I do see that one person is in custody. Looks like a man. So we're just off of 17th Street and the 55 freeway. Ended on 17th over the freeway. It's behind us, George. And thank you to everyone who watched us online. I'm not sure if I'm still streaming, but just in case I am. So I'll just explain what happened there real quick, because a lot of stuff happened in a very short amount of time. So we were on that Chevy Silverado pursuit. It got on the 241 in an area that was just too dark for us to continue, and the weather is going down as well. So we pulled off of that one and went to that other chase that was on the 55 freeway. That ended at the 55 and 17th Street, right there on the border of Santa Ana and Tustin. And thank you to my friend Michelle Ford, who is telling me I am still streaming. So thanks, Michelle. I flew right over her house apparently, and we stopped momentarily at that chase on the 55 and 17th Street. That driver lost control. He's now in custody. The one on that was a So that's the end of that one. Still don't have a termination of that Chevy Silverado pursuit. That was a DUI chase. But we are actually going to start making our way back up into the San Fernando Valley because the weather is going down. That way we can make it back home safely. So as long as I'm still streaming, I'll keep the shot up for you guys so you can watch us make our way back home out of Orange County and back into LA. We're currently at the 91 and the 55. And in fact, I'll throw up the little address bar because I think you guys will think it's kind of cool to be able to see exactly where we're at as we're flying along here. So once again, from News Chopper 4, I'm Ileana Marino alongside my pilot George Marciano. We